Welcome back to Mass Appeal. Carbon monoxide. It's an invisible, odorless killer, and it's important to make sure the detectors are up to date. And joining us now is Captain Jay Maxada from the Longmeadow Fire Department with some helpful tips to keep your family safe. Thanks for joining us today. So first of all, we know it's an odorless gas, but what is carbon monoxide and where do we find it?
Carbon monoxide is a colorless and odorless gas, as you said, produced from incomplete combustion.
So that's like if you're turning a stove on and the pilot light doesn't go and it doesn't get, the gas will start escaping out.
Exactly. Your pilot light not burning properly, an improperly burning furnace, wood in a fireplace, things like that all can give off carbon monoxide.
If you have an understanding of all the things that could go wrong, you'll be able to protect yourself. So let's start in the kitchen. Let's start with cooking safety. So we're here, we're at our stove. What do we need to know?
Whenever we're cooking, we want to remember, stand by your pan. When we're in the kitchen cooking, that's what we should be doing, just cooking, not doing anything else. We don't want to be checking emails, talking on the phone, anything like that.
That's true.
Because a fire, unattended, can start very quickly and grow very quickly.
Another tip too, I'm a little guilty of it right now. I have these papers right here. Got to keep them far away.
Keep everything away from the stove. Yes, keep it clear.
Now let's talk about a hot pan. What are some tips that you need when you have a hot pan?
Okay, you're working with the stove, you're cooking, we're using oils and things like that that are all flammable. If it does start on fire because we get it a little bit hot, we want to remember we should have a lid standing by. Take the lid with a pot holder on our hand.
So safety first, always with the pot holder.
Come from the side and over the pan. Now once we have it covered to smother the fire, we want to turn off the heat to remove the heat.
I think it's an important notion too. You want to smother the fire because oftentimes you don't want to mix oil and water. That ends very badly.
Correct. Water, if we take a pot of water out of the sink, something like that, that's going to spread the fire. If you've ever, when a frying pan dropped in something with a little bit of water and how it sizzles, well, just picture that, 100 times over with a pot of water.
Exactly.
And that's what's going to happen, and it's going to ignite, many things around it.
And another big tip is the pot handle. You don't want it to get too hot. Let's say we have it here and it's over another heat. That's going to be very hot. But moreover, we don't want to keep it over the edge.
Here, right, because if I'm working around the stove, I can
or if a child runs into it, or if a child
grabs it and pulls it over.
Exactly. Now let's talk about winter safety in the sense that we always have some sort of heat going, be it electric heat or gas heat. We need to stay safe because that could cause a lot of problems too. Okay,
with our gas heaters, we want to make sure that we have them serviced yearly. Very safe type of heat, but we want to make sure that they're checked on a yearly basis by a professional to make sure that they are operating efficiently and that the flues are not blocked, to keep carbon monoxide out of the home.
So we should have officials come and inspect it as often as possible, even yearly. But what are some things that you can look for? Let's say you head down to your basement. What are some things you should look for, or signs that something might be awry?
Odors coming from the unit, any gas or odors, smoke or anything coming through from the unit, that should all be going up the chimney and out of the house. The other thing we want to look for is we want an area around the fire box to be clear for 3 feet. So we want to keep our furnaces clear or our fireplaces clear, anything around that 3 feet. That way, if it does become a problem, it's going to stay and just be that unit.
The last thing we need to talk about is the carbon monoxide detector. It's vital and imperative to have that in your home.
Yes. Since approximately March 2006, Nicole's Law took effect, requiring carbon monoxide alarms in all homes in Massachusetts. And what Nicole's Law is back in Plymouth, Massachusetts, because of a snowstorm, a vent from a gas fire furnace had gotten blocked, causing carbon monoxide to get into the home, and the young girl did unfortunately die. Through that was the legislation. All homes in Massachusetts now are required to have carbon monoxide alarms.
And so everyone's required, but that law came into place maybe about 7 years ago or so, and now it's important that we beat the beep. So unfortunately we're out of time, but basically it's that these batteries, they only last about 7 years or so. So you need to be really adamant about replacing the batteries in your detector.
Yes, the sensors in the detector that sense carbon monoxide are only good to sense carbon monoxide for about 7 years. After that, they won't sense it. So on every 7 years, you need to replace the carbon monoxide alarm.
So you should be as vigilant as possible. Thank you so much for coming and sharing these tips. So that's very important in these